What's up, guys? My name is Mason, but you can call me Golden. I hope you're all having a great day. And today's story time has got to be the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. I don't know if that's because I was so young or what I was faced with, but either way, I was terrified at the time. And like I said, I was really young, so this takes place I think around 2013 when I was like 7. And one of you that watches me is probably like, "Oh, Golden, you're such a pussy." At 7 years old, I was an Olympic rock climber. And you know what? Good for you. I most certainly wasn't. I may have thought I was, but I wasn't. And I say that because what this video is about. So anyway, 2013, 7-year-old Golden. I was on a family camping trip to a place that we would go pretty frequently when I was younger. And it was super fun. There was so much to do. My siblings and I would always dirt bike around, play tag, like just a bunch of random games and stuff. Just so much to do, and it was a blast. If I could go back to it, I would. There was also a lake that we'd always swim in, and it would go into this little like river type thing, and it was always super muddy around it, so we would just like sink ourselves and have mud fights. It was awesome. But none of the things that I've listed was my favorite thing to do while camping here. It was a super sandy area around the lake. And there was cliffs all around the lake with overhangs, and then under them was a bunch of climbable like sand cliff type things. And it has to be my favorite activity to this day. Like if I were to choose anything to do and there was sand cliffs in front of me, I'd be climbing them. I'd be climbing them hands down. And my siblings and I would always like run around climbing these cliffs, playing tag and just like racing to the like as far up as we could go. And we were actually pretty competitive with it. Got into a lot of fights over it. Very stupid sibling fights, like any siblings have. But no matter what, my stepdad was always the best one at climbing these cliffs, which comes in very handy later on in the story. So on this one day that we were staying here, I was enjoying this rock climbing type thing probably too much, and it got the best of me. My sisters, my brother, and I started playing tag on these cliffs, which was so much fun. And I think I was enjoying it more than my siblings were because they ended up stopping playing. And they left, but I didn't want to. And my oldest sister was like, "Mason, no, you have to come with us because the parents won't let you be here alone." Because I forgot to mention that my parents were at the campsite. They were just at a fire and stuff. I think they were making lunch for us. Or dinner maybe. I don't know. I don't remember clearly. And anyway, I was like, "No, I'm not leaving." And my sister was like, "Okay, well, I guess I'm going to tell the parents then." And I'm like, "Well, snitches get stitches." Which was very much not true in this situation. I definitely got the stitches on this one. So they all leave. And the walk from the lake to the campsite was like about 10 minutes. So I was like, I'm going to get the most climbing in this amount of time. And I'm going to get to the highest point that I've ever made it to. And I got to be honest, I was pretty ballsy with some shit because I could sometimes I would like jump across to another place where I wasn't even sure I would make it. And if you fall, you're just rolling down into a bunch of logs. So you may not die, but you're definitely ending up with a lot of broken bones. And I would always remember asking my parents, like, what would happen if you fell down onto these logs? And some of them were like really spiky and poking up. So you could definitely get penetrated by some of them. And my parents were like, "Well, it depends on how you land, but there's definitely a possibility that you could die." But I was a brave little motherfucker. So I didn't give a damn. Just continued with my ballsy shit. And then my ballsy shit kicked me in the ass. Like I said, I was trying to get to the highest point that I could. And I was doing more than I had ever done before. So the spots on the cliff that I had to go to were ones that I was usually too scared to go up. And they were pretty steep, so there was a good chance I'm falling. Maybe not all the way down, but a good bit. This part of the story I remember so vividly because it was so scary. I'm crawling up this steep ass part of the cliff as fast as I possibly could because I thought when my siblings left and my oldest sister would tell my parents, I thought they would be here like as soon as they could. And if I was in trouble, I would probably hear the side-by-side start cruising over. But I didn't yet. So in that time frame, I'm like, I need to get up here as fast as I can. So as I'm crawling up the steep part, I see this spot that I'll be able to jump to on my right. So I kind of leap to the side and like turn my body at the same time. So my body was turned in a 180 and I was like looking out towards the lake. And this little ledge that I was on, I soon realized that it was sloped in a way that nobody would want a ledge that they thought they would safely land on would be sloped in. And I'm telling you, it was, I'm not even kidding you, probably like a 40-degree angle. And the second I realized that, I was like, I'm dead. There is no way that I'm making out of this unless I'm lucky enough for my sister to have told my parents and they rip down here in the side-by-side and make it within like 5 minutes, because I was sitting on this and the sand would like have my feet and hands and ass slipping down, and then I would have to like push my feet down and like move myself back over and over again. So eventually I was just going to run out of time to keep on doing that. And the place where I stopped at, fortunately enough for me, was right above a bunch of logs that were like sticking straight up that beavers must have chewed the ends off of because they were like pointy as hell. And if I were to land on one of them, I'd be looking like a fucking kebab. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at the very beginning of my life and I didn't want it to end that way. Neither do I want it now or any. I don't want to die like that. I don't want somebody to see me skewered. That's not good. Nobody wants to see that. So at first I was just very worried, and then I was really worried and started crying. And I was like, no, I'm never going to see my mom again. I'm never going to see my dad again. I'm never going to see my family again. And I just thought I was dead. I thought I was going to fall at any moment. And I thought I was going to fall literally every time I would like slip down a little bit. I was just like surprising myself at how long I was staying up. And then I don't know what happened. I just fucking locked in. And I was like, you know what? I am not fucking dying today. So I just scream at the top of my lungs like a little girl would, or a little Mason would, I guess. Just that scream that little kids do for fun, and they think that's just so funny. I know that you guys know which one I'm talking about, but I had to. That's the loudest possible scream I could do, or noise I could make. And like I said, the walk to the campsite was like 10 minutes. I don't really know what measurement for distance I would use. Definitely not a kilometer, maybe like half a kilometer. So I wasn't even sure if anybody would be able to hear me. And usually there's people dirt biking, quadding, whatever, all around all the time here. And lucky enough, nobody was at the time because it was like close to dinner or lunch. So this was my best chance at survival, I guess. And for some reason, I started to get so confident that somebody was going to come and sort of like rescue me. I was just constantly looking at the dirt road that you come through to get to the lake. And it felt like forever. I don't know how long it was. It was probably like 5 minutes at most. It felt like a really long time, but I'm not sure if it was actually that long. Probably not, because 5 minutes when you think you're gonna fall to your death that entire time would probably feel like an hour. But finally, I see my stepdad in the side-by-side just ripping down with no time to waste. And by this time, I wasn't crying anymore because I was like, I don't know, I just had this feeling that I would be saved. And now I was crying with tears of happiness because I'm just like realizing I'm not going to die today. And I didn't. I'm still alive, believe it or not. Like I said, my stepdad was really good at climbing, better than any of us. I guess that just comes with life experience, but anyway, it really helped in this situation because he was ripping up. And then once he got to the point where he was like a little bit under me, he was like, jump, Mason, jump. And I was so scared because like I could have just like slipped, like my feet could have just slipped, hit my head off of like a hard part of the sand, knock myself out and just fall straight to my death. So I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he was like, yeah, I'll catch you, I promise. So I was like, fuck it. Did a triple backflip 360 into my dad's arms. No, I'm just kidding. That would be badass though. So I jumped off of the ledge and my heels kind of did slip, but I went far enough. Like I had enough force from pushing off the ledge that I just made it perfectly. And I landed in my dad's arms and he just like hugged me. And I'm hugging him and I'm crying. And I'm just glad I'm alive because I thought I was a goner. But yeah, That's basically of how I was confident that I would have died if my dad didn't save me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to see more, and turn on notifications to not miss an upload. I have been streaming on Twitch quite a lot recently. It's the same username as my handle for YouTube. If you guys followed me on there, it would mean a lot. Anyways, see you guys all in the next one. Later.